Hi friends, this is Selvijay here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good. And today the topic I am going to discuss about how we can configure a active standby failover mechanism in a Cisco ASA firewall. So just remember the HSRP, what we called as a hot standby routing protocol or a gateway redundant protocol. So in which one is elected as active and other is elected as a standby. So whenever a active goes on, the standby will take over the active role. So similar scenario we need for firewall also. So whenever the primary firewall goes down, so we need a redundant firewall. So this firewall redundancy we can configure either in an active standby mechanism or we can configure in an active scenario. So in this particular architecture, I am going to show you how the active standby failover works. So for that, I have connected two firewall. One is an active and another one is standby. So both are connected by a failover link. So what are the requirements for this is both these firewalls should be remain of the same version, same model, and should contain the same licensing information and also the hardware details. Okay, so both should remain the same. And also the thing is that what is the purpose of this failover link? So through this failover link, it will send all the stateful information. Okay, the failover is stateful in which it will send all the stateful information like TCP UDP connection information and ORG table and also the NAT translation table, VPN information and other configuration information. So it will replicate from the active to the standby, what we call it as a replication, right? So all this information will be synchronized from the primary to the secondary or from the active to the standby. Why? Because whenever the active goes down, immediately the standby will take over the active role. So that is the purpose of this failover link. Okay, so in this architecture, I connected the firewall 1 and 2. So both the inside and the outside security zone I connected to the non-manageable switch. So 0 by 0 is for inside security zone and 0 by 1 is for outside security zone. Similarly, firewall 2, this is inside and outside security zone. And the IPs are, this primary IP is 1.1, this 2.1. For standby it is 1.2 and 2.2. And also we have a failover link IP. So one is 12.1 and this end is 12.2. So for a better understanding, now let us go to the configuration. The first and foremost thing, let us configure the directly connected interfaces. Okay. Then we'll go to the failover configuration for both the active and the standby firewalls, right? So let us go to the configuration. So go to the configuration mode and let us configure the inside and the outside security zone. So 0 by 0 will be an inside security zone with the security level of 100, IP is 1.1. So name IF inside and let us configure the IP address. IP address 192.168.1.1, 255.255.255.0. Additionally, I have to configure the standby IP will be 1.2. So this is a primary. We have to configure the standby IP. We have to configure. Okay, so let us go here. So standby 192.168.1.2 and let us do a no shut. And also let us go to the configuration mode. We'll configure the outside security zone that is 0 by 1. Let us name the interface outside. Okay, and let us configure the IP 192.168.2.1, 255.255.255.0. Then we have to configure the standby IP. What is the standby IP for this active? This is the IP. Active IP is 2.1 outside and standby is 2.2. So that's the thing I'm configuring 192.168.2.2 and let us do a no shut and let us write the configuration. And additionally, let us activate this interface for this gigabit 0 by 2, because this will be by default, it will be in a shutdown mode. So let us go here. This also we have configured, like 0 by 0, 1.1 and the standby is 1.2. Similar way, outside security zone 2.1 and the standby is 2.2. So these are things I have configured. So now let us do a no shut. So this is already in no shut mode. Okay, so now let us configure the failover configuration. Okay, so we are done with the interface configuration. Now let us configure the failover in both the primary and the secondary. So not necessary to configure the standby interface configuration. Why? We already configure the standby IP in this particular firewall only. Like, so only thing now I have to configure the, or we have to enable the failover mechanism in the active and the standby Cisco ASA firewall, right? So let us go here. So what's the command is, let us enable the failover, sorry, it's failover. Okay, so failover LAN unit primary. So this is the first command I have to enable for the active firewall, failover LAN unit primary. Then we have to configure this link, failover link. What's the command is failover link. Okay, so then we add a word. You have to add a word called failover. So just I'm adding a word failover. Then we have to specify the interface. Which interface? Okay, so this, which is the interface I told is gigabit 0 by 2. I'm going to configure as a failover link. So that's the thing I'm configuring. So let us copy this up to 0, then /2. Okay, so now it is activated failover link. Now we have to configure this failover LAN interface. Okay, so what's the command? There is command is failover LAN interface. Okay, so failover LAN interface. Then we have to configure the word. Which command is failover? So this is a keyword we have created, right? So failover LAN interface failover. Then we have to configure the interface. Which interface? That is gigabit 0 by 2. The same interface what we configured, right? So that interface I have to configure 0 by 2. So this also we have to configure. So what are things we have done is failover LAN unit primary. Then we have configured the failover link. Then we have configured this interface IP, failover LAN interface. So now I have to create the interface IP with the 12.1 as active IP, 12.2 for the standby IP. So this is mainly for configuring the failover link interface IP. Okay. So now let us configure. So failover interface IP. Then we have to give the keyword. What is the keyword is already showing, right? Failover. So the keyword failover interface IP failover. Then we have to configure this IP address. So what is IP is 192.168.12.12.1. Okay, 255.255.255.0. Then we have to configure the standby. Okay, this link I am configuring 12.2. So 192.168.12.2. Okay, so now let us save the configuration. So now let us view the failover configuration. So these are the things I have configured. I enable the failover LAN unit primary since it's an active unit. Then I have configured this as a link, failover link, and also the interface as a failover. So that's the thing I've done. Failover LAN interface failover, gigabit 2 is a failover link, and failover link failover. This is the interface thing. Okay, gigabit 2 is a interface for this. Then we have to configure this primary and this active and the standby IP for the failover link. So that's the thing we configured. So failover interface IP failover 12.1, this particular mask standby is 12.2. So now what we can do, the same set of commands, we have to enable it on the secondary firewall also. So simply we will configure the same command with the, we have to replace it with secondary. For the secondary firewall, the same set of commands, only thing, instead of unit primary, you would add the unit secondary. Okay, let us copy this command. So go to this. So go to the configuration mode. So let us configure this command, failover. Then let us copy the second command, failover LAN unit secondary. Okay, secondary. Then the third command is failover LAN interface. Exactly the same command I have to copy for the secondary also. Only changes this unit we have to, instead of primary, I have to configure as a secondary. Okay, so now let us copy this. So the configuration is pretty simple. Only thing, you have to understand the syntax and the command syntax, right? So now let us copy the second thing. Okay, so we are done with the configuration. Now let us write the configuration, and also keep it in mind, this interface, keep it in mind, it should be in no shut mode. Okay, let us view this configuration. So running configuration. Okay, so it's already in a no shut mode. So now I think it is already beginning the replication. So right, you are able to see, right? So once we configure these interfaces, once we started this failover configuration on the primary and the secondary, it will automatically, you can see, beginning the configuration replication sending to mate. So what does it sending to mate is nothing but it started sending the information from the active to the standby. So that is the information you are seeing in the primary, and also in the secondary it will show it is receiving the information. Okay, so whenever I'm saving anything, it will automatically show it is receiving the information from the primary to the secondary. So now that means we have successfully synced the interface information from this primary to the secondary. So keep it in mind, I already configured the primary interface. The same set of interface thing you will see it in the secondary also. Now let us see, like do show run. So you can see here the same set of configuration you are seeing in the secondary. I have not done that. So first initially I only configure the interface from the primary, but after enabling the failover on the primary and the secondary, all this information we got synced to the secondary also. That means the failover mechanism is working fine. So now let us enable some command over here, and you can see the same information will be synced to the secondary, or it will automatically replicated to the secondary. So let us go to the configuration mode and let us enable a command called fix a protocol. So always keep it in mind, this protocol should be enabled, fix a protocol for all firewall things, fix a protocol ICMP. And now let us write the configuration on the primary. So you will see the same information on the secondary. It is getting synced and it is copied. Okay, so now you can see the information what we have copied here also. Fix a protocol is ICMP. So these are things I configured. So for example, assume I'm just doing the configuration change in the secondary firewall. It will not allow me. So just I'm doing some configuration is showing. Configuration replication is not performed from the standby to active, because always the replication happened only from the active to the standby, not from the standby to the active. Okay, so now for this, now another scenario let us test. So now I want to make the standby as an active. So what I'm going to do, just I'm going to reboot the primary firewall. After within a minute, you can see the standby will go take over the active role. So let us just do a reload of the primary firewall. Okay. So just I'm doing the reload. So within 1 minute, it will just go to the, it will automatically take over the active role. So you can see here. So after the reload, you are able to see switching to active. So because it's already rebooted this primary firewall, and what happened automatically, the secondary firewall take over the active thing. So right, and what does the command for checking the firewall thing is, just do a show firewall. Okay, so show firewall, it will show, it is showing in the active mode or in the secondary mode. Let us go to this particular thing. Sorry, it is show failover. Okay, so failover, it will show the secondary is active and the primary, since it is in a rebooting stage, it is showing it is a failed status. Okay, so this is how we can configure the active standby mechanism in the case of Cisco ASA firewall. So what are things we have done is, first thing, we have configured this directly connected interfaces, and I specify the standby IP as a standby firewall configuration. And the second thing, we have enabled the failover mechanism on the primary and the or the active, and also in the standby thing. So only thing we have done is, we have enabled the failover LAN unit primary for active and failover LAN unit secondary for the secondary. Okay, and this is nothing but a failover or a stateful link through which it will send all the stateful information like TCP UDP connection states and R table, translation table, and the VPN information and all the other configuration information. So through which it will sync from the active to the standby, what we call it as a replication, right? So and for checking the status, you can do show failover, right? So you can do a show failover, show failover. So it will show, it will take as a active, and the sec you are seeing primary is going to standby mode. Okay, since we have rebooted this firewall. Okay, so this is how we can configure the active standby firewall in a failover mechanism in a Cisco ASA firewall. And also I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thanks and have a wonderful day. Thank you.